All right, guys, what's up? What up? What up? Hayden Shapp here, back doing some reaction to and dissection of some cold calling door-to-door sales for the Moxie reps out there. Really, I guess anybody could benefit from this if you care about persuasion and influence and want to get better at that, because there is no better way to learn persuasion and influence than cold calling people door-to-door who most likely don't want you on their doorstep, and at the best, they're uncomfortable with you there. At the worst, they hate you and want you to leave. I guess that's more of the normal, really. But I'm going to be reacting to and dissecting some of Cole Allen's sales. On this day that he went out and sold, and we captured some footage of him. Forgive me for the sound from the wind, but hopefully it won't be too bad for too long. I don't think. I just watched the first couple seconds of this, so we'll see. But he got some sales. I think he got 6 sales. 5 of them were in a row, something like that. And anyway, I'm going to be reacting to another one of his sales that he got. And I'm gonna let it go a little further into the sale and point out some of the things that he does in the back half of the sale. I'll certainly point out things that he does in the front half of the sale too, but I really want to get to the things he does in the back half of the sale here, which I actually haven't even seen. I just checked to make sure that he does go into the back half, and the very little that I saw of it before I got on this to record this got me super excited, because I think I'm going to give some good info here, and you're going to be able to see a master at work. This has been really fun working with Cole. I have an incentive for you though, okay? So first off, if you work with me and you don't follow my stuff, so make sure that you like and you subscribe to my personal channel, where I talk about everything related to persuasion and influence, specifically for cold calling, but you can apply it to anything else in a principle-centered, truth-centered way, and then principle-centered leadership are also the topics. I'm going to be getting back into my podcast here with 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which will be really fun. So make sure you subscribe to that. I'm actually going to be doing some incentives too for people that share this, especially if you share it with people that you work with, if you work for me. And if you don't, great, also applies too, but this is going to be specifically geared towards the specialized skill of cold calling door-to-door, and for Moxie reps that know all my training. So shout out to you guys. All right, the incentive is, if you have a sale that you can send me that is you getting a sale on the doors, has to have audio and video. It doesn't need to be recorded with somebody shadowing you like what you're about to see. So if you look here, you see Cole is being shadowed. Let me start this at least.
Diane told me to...
So you can see how Cole is being shadowed by Bjorn. Shadowed him, got this footage, and then we realized that we didn't even need to have it very highly produced, because it's going to be really easy to get good content with reacting to this stuff and really dissecting what's happening on the doors, so that you can hone in your skill set and increase your close rate by 20, 30, 40% pretty easily. Now that I can actually see live what's going on and listen on Zero, it's a game changer. But the incentive is, any sale that you have recorded yourself, or you have somebody shadowing you, it doesn't matter, either one. You can have, some people will put their phone with the camera on down here and just like record it from like below your chin, basically up. Not super flattering, but it's still good. I can always catch little body language things if I can just have any sort of video that I can help you work on. So just audio is not going to work. I want audio and video. It doesn't matter how you get it, so you don't have to have somebody shadowing you, just as long as you have the video. I will give $50 to anyone that gives me a live sale to react to. Now, I specifically want like the Moxie reps to be doing this, so you guys please send me your sales. $50 to anybody that does this. I really want content so that I can react to this and help improve our sales results by even more than what we're already selling, because we're absolutely killing it right now still. But I really want to hone in and perfect this process of, there's a couple of things that if we tweak in value in the front half of the sale and in the back half of the sale with how you overcome objections, that can easily be increasing our close rate by 20 to 25% easily, just with a couple tweaks, not to mention a few other things. So the more content that I can have to react to, I'm going to be doing 2 or 3 of these, recording a day, and then trying to release them daily, putting them up on my podcast so everybody can listen as well. But this is just, it's really valuable to have this stuff. So I'll give anyone, especially if you work with Moxie or with me, please send me that. Any live sales that you want me to react to. If you have a sale that you didn't get, but you want to understand why, like you think you could have got it and you want to understand why, send me those as well. I'll give you $30 for those. Sales are awesome. Not getting sales are also awesome, just not quite as valuable right now. Later on, they'll be actually more valuable, because you can learn more in the long term from the sales that you don't get than the ones that you do. But right now I just need the ones that you can get is the one I want the most. And then if you have sales that you didn't get, but you want to know why you didn't get them, send me those too. So $50 for any live sale that you get where you close the deal, $30 for any sale that you think you should have got and you want to know why, but you didn't get it and you want to know how to close that. Send that to me as well. Audio and video. Anybody that sends that to me, I'll Venmo them, whether you work with us or not. I don't care. I just want to react to this stuff. But I specifically would really love for my crew to be sending us that so we can just, kill it. So thanks for watching, guys. Let's get right into it. That was a long intro, but let's get right into it. All right. So this is Cole Allen. We're going to be dissecting his sale here live. Okay, so you can already hear when he's knocking the door, and I'm not going to comment quite as much until I get something that's like really big, really helpful. He does a couple things that he did really well, I think, in his first sale, and I only, again, watched like 30 seconds or so and then just skimmed through the rest of it. But let's watch Cole here. Again, sorry for the noise.
Diane told me to come over and give you a hard time real quick. Is that all right?
Oh, because that got back to the time.
She said that you would definitely be home, but I've got to come over and pass the word in a second. But you're the queen of the castle here, I take it?
Yes, but my husband's in dirt.
Okay. Well, I'll just leave you with this. So I take care of her for bugs. What's this guy's name?
Oh, this is Bailey.
So notice again how he steps in with the card because he notices that's going to break the ice more easily. I wouldn't do this every time, but just, again, she kind of gives an adverse reaction, so he steps in. Let's go back here just for a sec. Right off the bat, I got to point this out because, again, he's going to repeat some things that he did on this previous sale that were really good. But right away, the customer answers the door, and then just notice her body language, how she is not very happy for him to be there. Like, just look up close at kind of how she's like timid. She's trying to hide behind the door a bit. If someone is happy to see you, they're going to open the door right away. But she's obviously not super thrilled to be seeing Cole. And so she's hiding behind the door, just like the last customer did. But then he broke the wall and was able to be on the same team as her, et cetera, which is kind of what he's going to do here again. But just notice that right off the bat. And so the thing he does to break the ice right away, because remember, what's the first box that we're trying to check as we're cold calling, as we're knocking doors, is you have to build rapport. Have to. So you have to be seen as sharp, trusted, enthusiastic, a competent, confident service professional that is there to actually solve their problems. And if they don't have any, give them something better than what they currently have. You don't be perceived by that as by being someone who's distant and kind of like, shy or whatever, or like even just super hardcore all the way to the other end of the spectrum. You need to build rapport. So however you're going to do that, there are a lot of ways to do that. If you're doing a specific tone, like, like a cop tone or a teaching tone, no matter what your tone you embody as a person. Cole is very friendly, your neighborhood friendly, snowmobile companion from Montana. That's such a stupid way. I'm sorry, Cole, I'm butchering everything about you. That's amazing. But Cole easily builds rapport with people because he's jovial and friendly. And you spend 5 seconds with Cole and you realize that's kind of his shtick, right? So the way he's going to do that is by just introducing himself and saying, hey, the neighbor so-and-so sent me over. Anytime you can sell someone and get the neighbor's name and just say, you know anybody close by? Do you get along with your neighbors? Like, do you know anyone close by? I won't tell him you sent me, but I can come by. And if you say that, don't say their name, obviously. But there's ways that you do it, like Cole does frequently, and like we've been practicing, where you can just say, hey, do you mind if I stop by the neighbor's house? Okay, do you know anyone close by? And then they'll say, yeah, I know Joan over there. Okay, cool, awesome. I'm just going to swing by. I promise I won't make it awkward or anything. And then you go over, and then you say, hey, Diane sent me. That's a good way to do that. Right away, you're going to build rapport because the easiest way to build rapport is to say someone's name. And if you know the name, you have to use it. It's really, really good. Another one, if you don't know the name, this might be a long video, guys, but it's going to be good, I promise. If you don't know someone's name, something that I've been doing, again, I talked about this in the last video, but I really like is by saying, hey, my name's Hayden, nice to meet you. And then just waiting until they respond. If they introduce themselves back to you, you're in. You already know, box checked, you're in rapport. Now it's just about deepening that rapport, however you say rapport. Now it's just about deepening the rapport if they introduce themselves back to you. But if you say, hey, my name's Hayden, nice to meet you. And then they go, What do you want? Some people will do that, right? That was my first attempt at building rapport. Well, actually, it was my second, because the first one, my first attempt is always going to be the greeting. If I use the I really want to know or I care tonality. Hey, how you doing today, sir? And if I'm in like kind of like backcountry area, I'll say sir. If I'm not, or if I'm not in a place where like sir is actually like a respectful term, instead of if like sir would mean that I'm talking up to somebody and they would be talking then down to me, I'm not going to say sir. I'm going to say, hey, how you doing today? Hey, how you doing today? Hey, man, how you doing today? Hey there, how you doing today? How are you doing today? Hey, man, how are you doing today? It's good to see you. How are you? Great. Because if I say it's good to see you, how you doing today? And I use this I really want to know tonality. Notice how my inflection goes up then comes down. It's a sincere, it's in my own register of voice. I'm not saying, hey, how you doing today? Like out of my register of voice. I'm saying it in my register like I normally would if I was good friends with someone, for example, and I hadn't seen them in a really long time. So I'm going to say, hey, how you doing today? That's my first attempt at building rapport. Second attempt is always going to be, nice to meet you. My name is Hayden. Now, this is if I don't know their name, right? If I know their name like Cole, then I'm going to say, hey, Diane sent me over. How you doing today? I'm Hayden. Nice to meet you. And then I'll say that because now I have her name in my arsenal. Well, depends. Like you're using the neighbor's name. There's a bunch of different names you could use, right? I'm confusing myself. It's super late, guys. Well, I guess it's not too late. I've been working like 14, 16 hours today. So, but anyway, you get what I'm saying, right? So now you're in rapport. If they introduce themselves back to you, you're in rapport. If they don't introduce themselves back to you, something you can do is say, what's your name? It's good to talk to you. It's good to meet you. Or like, hey, who do I have the pleasure of speaking with right now? Are you the homeowner here? Or you the man in charge? Awesome. Yeah, my name is Hayden. Nice to meet you. Great. And your name? So if they don't respond back to you, then you're going to say, and your name? Good to meet you, Diane. Diane, the reason I'm stopping by, now I'm going to go into my pitch, right? Joan sent me over. So I've been working with them. They just hired me. And honestly, it's been because the hands are just really bad. So if I can fit you guys in while we're already here, I can take care of it for a lot cheaper. Riffing a little bit on how to build rapport, and he does a great job just by mentioning names right away. Diane sent me.
Diane told me to come over and give you a hard time real quick. Is that all right?
Oh, because that got back to me in time.
She said that you would definitely be home, but I just got to come over and visit for a second.
Now he's referencing something. Obviously, you want to do that. Be emotionally intelligent about it. If that person seems to be a good friend with him, and that's going to help. If they don't seem to be a good friend with him, don't say they came over to give you a hard time. But obviously, Cole is really good at this. He's very emotionally intelligent, and he can tell.
You're the queen of the castle here, I take it.
Yes.
Okay, immediately she's trying to get him to go away. And how is she going to say that? She's never going to say, hey, go away. Most people will not say that, but they will lie to you until they trust you. So you know she doesn't trust him quite yet because she's gonna try. She's putting up a smoke screen like with her husband.
Well, honestly, you're queen of the castle here, I take it.
Yes, but my husband's at work.
So she's like, I don't know what you're doing yet, but I'm not interested because my husband's at work, and go away, please. Basically. So watch what he does. As soon as she says that, he's now going to say, well, okay, this is a maybe bordering on the hostile sales cold call situation, meaning like she doesn't really want me here. So what am I gonna do to combat that? Well, the easiest thing to do to combat that, by far the easiest thing to do to combat that is to just do the card trick. That's the easiest one. Hey, you mind if or here's another one. If you don't have cards, for the longest time I refused to take cards with me because I didn't feel like I was skilled enough to only have them as a crutch, only have them be a crutch for me. Because people would just ask for a car all the time, and then I would feel like afraid to close them. Basically, this is when I really sucked at sales, and a long time ago, before I paid my dues, that it really, becoming best in class in that. So now what I do is use the card trick. But before, what I would say is, well, do you mind if I leave you with some information and I'll get out of your hair? They think you're going to leave them with a flyer. I don't do that to be deceptive. I really am going to leave info, and then I step in and I show them price on my iPad because I am actually leaving them info by leaving them the knowledge of the price that I'm going to give, and thereby the service as well. It's another trick you can do if you don't have the card trick. Somebody texted me and asked me like, hey, what cards do you use? What template? I've got a freaking golden template for cards that I'm not going to share with everyone. A couple people I've shared to just broaden the test group. It's amazing. But it doesn't matter if you have cards or not. You can still break the ice by saying, well, let me just leave you with some information and I'll get out of your hair. If you're really confident, you can ask, let me give you some information. Do you mind if I leave you with some information and I'll get out of your hair? And then them voluntarily responding to you it psychologically helps them deepen rapport as well. But if you're not feeling quite that confident, do something that is a little more ballsy, but ironically, you don't have to be as confident, and say something like, let me just leave you with some info and I'll get out of your hair. Or like, here, I'll just leave you with some info and get out of your hair. I don't mean to bug you. And then you'll step in. And you want to play into the fact that they're still trying to get you to leave. And that will give you a chance to buy some time to build interest. Because, again, remember, it's build rapport, fact-finding / pique their interest with value, deliver that value, and then you're going to get into price and close. That's always the roadmap. No matter what type of sale you're in, whether you're switching somebody over from their other company, or whether you're starting someone up new, which is switching them over from not having anyone, or whether you're doing a do-it-yourselfer type person that's been jerry-rigging their service, whatever it might be, that's a switch over from them doing something different. It's all the same structure. Psychologically, someone's going to make the decision to buy in the same type of way, which in this case is they have to be in rapport with you. You have to have enough information to know if you can help them, and they have to feel that you have information that is relevant so that you can help them, which is where fact-finding comes in. You pique their interest through a strong thesis statement or strong transition / pre-value statements. Then you give value, then you give price, and you close. And you always are peppering value in there. All right, I promised that I wasn't going to talk very much. I'm talking so much. And there's 15 seconds into this, so I'll let it run for just a second unless I see something really good.
Oh, this is Bailey.
I got to turn this up, sorry.
Yeah, did you hear her see that bark even when you rang the door?
Okay, so he asked for the dog's name, right? And sorry, I had the sound down the whole time, but he basically asked for the dog name. She says the dog's name, and then now he's commenting on the dog's name, and he's just going to have a brief conversation with her. I like how quick this conversation is, because then he's going to get straight into build value. What Cole's doing, and Cole doesn't even realize this. I guarantee he does not realize this. Most top performers just don't. But if you can systematize this in your own sales process, now he's going to say, I'll be brief. I'm just kind of narrating what he's doing. Most top closers do not realize that they do this really well. It's if they don't have enough rapport, they keep building rapport, because they just realize that it's futile to keep moving along in the sale if you don't have rapport. If someone's not listening to you because you're not in rapport with them, they will never buy from you, ever. Unless their pain threshold is so high, or unless you can drop the price so cheap that they don't even find value in it anyway, and those are going to be your worst customers, they will not buy from you if you don't have rapport from them. With the exception of the situations I just explained. So now Cole has a deeper conversation just to try to deepen rapport, and then he quickly gets back into business, which is, you're bordering there. It's a fine line if you don't know how to do this well. I'd rather people try to build rapport by asking more questions than being friendly in those questions, or playing into their natural tone in those questions. But top closers, he knew that he wasn't in rapport quite yet. So he just kept having a conversation to see if he could build it. And now she's interested. She's looking at the card. She's actually stepped out a tiny bit further, if you can see her body language. And Cole is going to command the conversation by just his body language is excellent. I mean, you can see it right here on the screen. He's got like arm out and extended to where it's far from his body. He's open. He's leaning against the house. This is called the concept of possession. Psychologically, possession is something interesting where if you ever watch Tom Cruise, he's a master at charisma and persuasion influence. He's always touching something close to him, whether it's like the person that's close to him, like touching their knee, if he's being interviewed, touching their knee, their shoulder, whatever, or the desk or their chair. It's this idea of like, hey, I feel so comfortable here that I feel comfortable enough to consider this mine as well. Like, I'm in charge here. And so when you can touch somebody's house like that in a way that looks not weird, like this is very nonchalant and casual, nobody's going to call you out on this unless they were the type of person that just wasn't going to buy from you anyway. So like all of these things psychologically are swaying the buying pressure in his favor by building rapport. So if you look, his legs are kind of crossed. Usually you want your legs in a nice stance if you're standing up straight to where you're leaning in on one hip. But instead of leaning in on one hip here, he's just standing against the wall, and then he has his arm out really casually. Some people will do this weird, like really straight long arm. You don't want to do that, but just notice how casual it is. And I kind of want to see what he does with his body language here. So he used it, and again, I know the sound's low here, but he basically used his arm, extending his arm to show openness in his body language to try to get her to feel more comfortable with him. And he did it in a relevant way where he's pointing out, like, well, I treated 29 of your other neighbors that I just signed up in the last couple of days. So let's go back here just and turn the sound up to see what he does. I apologize for the wind again.
Dogs that are actually trained, you guys need to do it.
Dogs that are trained, building rapport.
Do they? Yeah. They actually weren't as bad as.
Watch him transition here in just a second.
I had a dog that's come through a screen door running at me because he's so.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I've never moved that.
By the way, telling stories about yourself is always going to build rapport if you can do it and it's relevant, which is what he just did. But brief stories. Otherwise, you're a narcissist. If something that helps relate to a person and they can feel you relate to them, that's why he's doing it.
Well, that's good to be a good dog owner, I think is what it comes down to.
It's their personality.
Even bold enough to just to like comment on something. If I feel like I'm really feeling confident in rapport with someone, I'll comment on like, hey man, dude, if I really feel this way, I don't ever want to lie to someone and be like, dude, I love your bracelet, by the way. Or like it's like your husband did real good with that ring, by the way. Did he pick that out or did you? If it's like an older lady, I'll say that. I don't ever want to do it in a way that's like flirtatious and will get me in trouble with a spouse or something. But like that's kind of a funny thing to say. Comment on someone's ring that's like an older woman, their wedding ring. Anyway.
I think I'll keep bringing.
Okay. Well, I'll be brief, but basically I started with her today. She had someone else coming out.
That transition, there's so many good things here. Sorry, guys, for just taking so long. I'm just going to go as long as I can. You can watch the whole thing or not. It doesn't matter to me. But you will get value out of it if you do. So this one's interesting. And I might only do the front half of the sale because this is taking a sec. But what's interesting here is he says, well, I'll be brief. When you say that, you're basically just respecting someone's time if you say it that way. You don't say, well, hey, listen, I'll be brief. No. So hold the door open. I'll be brief. Not that. Not the begging tone. He's saying it in a confident, like, hey, I'm here to help, but I'll be brief because I care about your time. That's the psychological underlying message that he's delivering subconsciously.
Have anybody come out for bugs right now?
No. The personality, and I think I'll keep bringing.
Okay. Well, I'll be brief, but basically I started with her today. She had someone else.
So he's referencing the person that sent him over, right?
Rabbits and mice. Okay.
Referencing someone that sent him over, and then he's gonna say, so and so, she's just signed up with me. A bunch of others are super happy. And then now because he's in rapport, he can now get into fact finding, which is the first thing you always need to know is like, what are you doing in your current situation for the thing I'm trying to sell you? In this case, pest control. What are you doing? What are you doing for the home with pest control so that I can help you out?
Basically, everyone's seeing these webs and then lots of spiders, and then I'm taking care of her for fleas too. Fleas have been a big issue with the new construction. They come from the rabbits and mice that run through the yard. Rabbit bugs. Okay. Kind of know how that works.
Okay, so already, man, this is really interesting. But if you listen to her response, she's like, "Oh, okay." So he's already seeing how she cares about her dogs. Again, emotional intelligence here. Top closers, they're just so good at this. And Cole just closed 9 either today or yesterday when I was watching him. But it's so good, right? Because he already knows that she cares about her dogs. And you can see her taking pride in how she has mentioned comments about, see how I didn't bark when I came to the door. So she's like really proud of that, right? He comments on that because she sees she's proud. Another emotionally intelligent thing to be doing in a charismatic, like persuasion and influence orientation situation. So now he's going to use something that is relevant to her as a building intrigue. Because remember, you do have to fact find, but you also need to build intrigue with a nice thesis or at least pique their interest. And then you get into building value. And oftentimes you can do those 3 things simultaneously. Fact-finding, building interest, and building value. Fact-finding, piquing interest, and building value, which always come after rapport and before price. But the thing is what's interesting, I just already he knows that she's interested by the way she responds, which is really good. You can see her just, right? That's what you're looking for. How you know you've built or piqued interest in someone's mind is based on how they respond. It's so easy to tell. If they're not responding curious, then they aren't interested. And so your job is to make them interested in a persuasion and influence type of way and ethically.
Have you ever had a professional service, or do you normally just stick the husband on?
No, just when they first, we just, when we bought this house, they did whatever they did to it. And they put things in the wall that you can spray in. But
yeah, stay away from that. That's not good. It doesn't work very well, actually.
I don't know.
It's so good. He's just like, yeah, don't worry about that. That's not going to be the best for you. Like, yeah, of anything, I'd stay away from that. But he's already in rapport with her, and he's making kind of a nonchalant, like a passing comment with it.
Yeah, it's whatever my husband does.
Okay, well, basically tell him what I do is I treat from the front curb. I do the entire yard all the way to the back fence.
Okay.
If I do both you guys, it would help a ton.
This is a really good thing to say if someone tries to use the husband or wife objection right away. Is just like mimic it back to them and be like, well, one thing your husband's gonna love. I'm all about like fitting sales scripting and roadmap steps into a template that you can always use on every door, and you don't ever have to memorize certain things. All you have to do is memorize what steps come next. And by that, I mean, like, you don't want to ever get into a situation where like the only way you'll succeed is if you have the best one-liner for every single objection. That's not how we teach to sell at least. And that's not how I've been trained by the best in the world to sell. You want to have things that will allow you to hit at the core of human persuasion and influence every time. But that being, and I'll when I get into the back half of this sale, which I will do, I'll talk more about that. But what I'm really getting at here is like, you don't need to mimic this objection back to her in a way that kind of disarms it. He can say, yeah, well, one thing that people love, you can always say that as a transition in that objection, because you always want to neutralize, transition, build value, and then close. So here, or if you haven't gotten to price, get into price, then close. So here he's just going to disarm that objection by repeating it back to her, but saying the same thing he would have if she didn't say it, which is giving value.
Fleas and fire ants and spiders. Basically, this is the source to any bugs that make it to or in the house. So I treat that and they don't make it in with you guys.
Okay.
Right now, do you get ants in the kitchen and bathroom or spiders in the bedroom?
Again, notice how he's going back and forth between value and then peppering in fact-finding questions. One thing that, principally speaking, meaning like you could apply the same principle on any door, is you need to engage with the customer in a way that's meaningful. So have them do voluntary responses as you are checking in. Throughout the entire sale, you always want to check in and say, like, does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying here? Not like, that makes sense, right? You don't want to lead them, so to speak. They need to have voluntary yeses that it makes sense, so that when it comes time to close, it's so good that they'll feel dumb for not buying from you because they just told you 20 times that it makes sense voluntarily, because it does, right? That's the idea. If they can agree with you multiple times that it makes sense based on the facts that they give you, by you checking in and saying, does that make sense? Do you follow me here? You see why this is so good? And you're not leading them too much, but they have voluntary responses to it. That will, one, help you know if you're actually building value. Two, it will help you see if you're in rapport with them. Maybe the opposite, help you see if you're in rapport and help you know if you're building value. And number three, it's going to get them to agree that it makes sense before they close, which will make closing way, way easier.
No, we get some spiders because we've always gotten a lot of spiders.
What was the question you asked there?
I treat that and they don't make it in with you guys.
Okay.
Right now, do you get ants in the kitchen and bathroom?
Okay, so he just gave a broad sweeping value statement or value proposition. Reason why everybody's going with me is because of this, this, and this. Now, right now, do you guys get more ants in the blah, 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 blah?
Spiders in the bedrooms?
No, we get some spiders because we've always gotten a lot of spiders, and I had to take care of that as much as he could last year. I can't stand spiders.
So this is great because now she just reveals that she can't stand spiders. And so you have a clear path to a sale here. And if nothing else, you have a very clear path to how to deliver value. So you get that broad sweeping. This is so good. That broad sweeping value statement. Reason why everybody's going with me is because of X, Y, and Z, right? That makes sense. Why? Because we just have so much more coverage. Because most companies out here, they're just treating very outdated. You've seen your guy spray, does this and this, blah, blah, blah. If this was a switch over, that's what he'd be doing. But listen, do you guys see more ants and spiders in kitchens, bathrooms, or like where have they been? And she's like, not very many ants, but like spiders, and I hate spiders. But the thing is, like, no matter how she responds, you have a really clear path to getting to the next part of the sale here. And that's all this is with cold calling, doing door-to-door sales, and especially selling a freaking amazing service, the best service in the industry like we have. That's all this is giving yourself a clear path to get from one step to the next and check the correct boxes. The cannot go pass or until you go through here type of thing, ye shall not pass. If you can check those boxes, pass through those checkpoints, then that's going to allow you to really, it's such an easy, clear path to the sale. Because if she says, like this question, what is it, right? He's saying, you know, is it more ants or spiders you guys see? This is also was a one that I came up with when I was knocking with Jordan Belfort. Maybe I'll release the footage of me knocking with him. We came up with this cool pitch to where we would say, like, instead of who do you guys use for the bugs or what service do you typically use? We're like, yeah, you know, everybody in the neighborhood that we talk to has either been interested in our service or has come over and used it with us and has been thrilled. So is it more ants or spiders that you guys are seeing? And you would just do that as your hook question from the beginning. And obviously everything I have to say is true based on the situation of that day, right? That's very important. But that was a really good transition statement, and it would just get everyone to admit that they had problems right away. Which that's not always going to get you the sale alone, but you stack enough of those things up and it's really easy to close people. I mean, it's no wonder this Cole's closing 6, 7, 8, 9 a day right now, like clockwork, and when he's knocking full days for sure going to be closing. Well, he already is, but it's a long drive out to where he's knocking right now. So he's closing on all the days that he's knocking a crap ton of deals because of this principle. So he asked this question. If she responds affirmative and says like, yeah, I don't see ants, but I see tons of spiders, or like, yeah, we just get all of it kind of here and there. Great, clear path to a sale. You can say, yeah, I figured. And you don't ever want to be surprised. You don't want to be like, oh, you're crap, you're seeing problems. You want to like be anticipating it. You're the expert. You should know that people are seeing problems, right? And if they're not using your service, you should be so confident as to assume that they will be better off with you, and so that they have problems, whether that's seeing bugs or the fact that they're with the wrong company. That's the problem. So he assumes that. He's confident. I say, yeah, it sounds about right, whatever. I'll see what he does with the response here. But if she doesn't answer in the affirmative, you can still use the same exact transition. So let's say you ask the question like, hey, so is it more ants or spiders that you guys see typically? Because she already told them that they don't have a service. They've been moved in for a while and they haven't used anyone, right? And I know this is near new construction, but these homes, a lot of them have been here for 2-3 years. I know just because I know where Cole's knocking. So this person just hasn't signed up with someone since they've moved in the house for a while. Now, if she says, so he's already assuming that they have problems by asking that question. But now let's say if he asks that question, is it more ants or spiders you guys see? And she goes, no, we don't see anything. We're perfect. Then you say, yep, that's what I figured. Now, I've had a lot of people sign up with me because of that. And let me tell you, they love the service. Now I'll show you why. Then now you can go back into building value. But it's the same response. I see mostly ants, spiders. Yep, that's what I expected. Now I have a lot of people in this situation, and they've signed up with me and just absolutely are thrilled. No, I don't see bugs. It's perfect. I have a perfect situation. I'm super happy. Yeah, I figured I'd have a lot of people in this situation, and honestly, they end up going with me, and they're thrilled. Let me tell you why. So the first thing, now, have you guys been here for over a year? Okay, great. Well, but if you don't mind me asking, like, do you guys let the dogs out to play outside? Do you ever have kids playing in the yard? Yep. Yeah, even better. Okay, so this is going to be perfect for you guys. So and I've just built all this anticipation, and I'm now going to pay it off by the value. There's no way we're getting to the back half of the sale on this one, but I promise I will do it on this specific sale.
Is it mostly like these wolf spiders, or do you see a lot of black widows too?
I don't think I've ever seen a black widow.
Really good here. So one thing that he does from a body language perspective, he's now going to he's stepping in to be on her same team, and he's basically inviting her to be on his team as well by inviting her to come out a little bit just by showing. You can do this by like walking away. I know some people that'll walk away and say, hey, let me just show you in the yard here. John was seeing kind of the same thing. And I think this is important for you to know, at least if you don't go with me, and you can walk away and show them something in the yard. This is the same principle. It's getting her to step out and take action. If someone makes movement, then they are more likely to be on your team. They're moving toward you psychologically. They are making a step to be on your team voluntarily.
But don't quote me on that.
I've had a lot of them just in the garage corners.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Royce City and Josephine have been super bad for black widows this year for some reason.
Oh, okay.
But wolf spiders are definitely the most prominent.
By far, he just keeps building intrigue. It's so good. I haven't seen black widows. Yeah, listen, this is one thing we were doing when we were knocking. They were like, everybody has gotten black widows that I've inspected, which was true in this situation.
your yard for you?
He does.
Okay, so he'll agree with me on that.
Still asking questions.
Lawnmower, they just go running like crazy. So
oh, really? I've
won't
never
be
said anything, but wolf spiders are good things.
They're good for the most part. Yeah, they're still spiders and they still make a nest and make a mess.
They eat other spiders. And
they do.
So she already said she hates spiders. Now she's walking that back and saying wolf spiders are good. It's not because she actually cares or wants the spiders to stay there. It's because she just doesn't quite trust him yet, which is okay. We're building rapport. Doesn't mean they have to fully trust you yet, but that's the whole point of this.
Good. Yeah, they're kind of like bug protection as far as that goes, huh? But I do that, and then the fleas, fire ants are, I mean, we're in Texas. No question about that.
Yes, I can't stand those.
Pretty.
So good. And so now you're just saying, hey, these are all the things that we do based on what you said. I know you don't have somebody yet. I know you said you don't like spiders. That's why he's talking about the spiders. I also know things that you don't know that everybody has because I'm the expert, and then also fire ants. And she's like, yeah. So he just sees that he's building intrigue, and he's kind of like building up to the close here.
Nasty. And then how about earwigs and silverfish in the bathrooms?
Yeah, every once in a while, yeah.
They're not running you guys.
Oh man, so good.
I read stuff online all the time about like it wasn't flea, it was some other little bug that someone killed. Had hundreds of them last year. It's like a gnat or like a flea, but it's not a flea.
Yeah, they kind of look like a flea.
Yeah.
They're springtails. You'll get them like.
Is that what? Oh, that's what they're called. Yeah.
They look like a tiny grasshopper almost. Like it makes me. If a
they're
flea,
real tiny.
Yeah, like tiny like.
I haven't
My chair
seen
sucks so bad.
Okay.
And all the other stuff people have complained about.
Funny story, dude. We were knocking in a neighborhood really close to the one they're at right now. Several weeks ago. I don't know where Cole's knocking right now. Oh, actually I do, but it's not there. And me and Cole were knocking in this neighborhood, right? And I'd just closed like 4 or 5 houses like almost in a row. And I like start just feeling itchy everywhere. And I just stood in this lady's yard for like 10 or 15 minutes while she was doing yard work and closed the deal with her. But I start, I get off of her yard, I get on my Segway, I ride to the next door, and I'm like, dude, and I was in the middle, like in the sun was kind of beating on us. There wasn't any really shade in her front yard, and the sun was coming at us from that direction. But I just get so itchy, and I'm looking around, and like, I just have these like bugs all over me. And so I like get them off, I like spray myself right, and just itchy everywhere still. My hair's itchy. They're falling off of my hat. And then I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm not going back to my car. This is free. I'm on a roll. So I go pitch the next person, sell them. I get to Cole. I text Cole and I'm like, dude, are you like itchy? Like did something? Cause we had just done an ice bath and hot tub in my, that morning. We did like some hot cold therapy before he went out and knocked. And I was like, dude, is that something like, did we like bring fleas into the house while we were moving the ice bath? Like what the freak is going on? Like, are you itchy? And he's like, oh, kinda, not really though. And I'm like, dude, what is wrong with me? I just get itchy everywhere. And now I think I'm freaking out because you know how that is. Like you get itchy and you have bugs on you. Now you start thinking there's bugs literally all over you, even if they're just on your head or whatever. But these bugs literally just don't go. They're not going away. So I finally talked to the branch manager. I'm like, dude, what is this? I'm like FaceTiming him, sending pictures. And I'm like, oh, those are either chiggers or no-see-ums. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That's not a real bug. No-see-ums? He's like, yeah, look it up. So I look it up. Turns out it's a nickname for I don't even know what type of bug or freaking flea or something. And so Jared's like, yeah, they're no-see-ums. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? That's not a real thing. They're definitely like fleas, and you're just trying to like make a joke out of this. And he's like, no, dude, you're fine. Just spray yourself with bug spray. You'll be good. And I was like, I just did. And he's like, well, spray your hat. They're probably coming from your hat if they dropped from a tree. So I did, and they finally went away. But I was freaking so itchy. I just got blasted by these no-see-ums. And turns out I got blasted by chiggers, too, at the same time. I'm like, man, the joys of freaking knocking doors. But, me and Cole killed it that day, so it was worth it. Anyway, funny story for you there. Or maybe not funny. Tragic knocking day story.
I mean, we've never had.
You guys get set. Well, you guys, I'm going to knock on wood.
The other stuff people have complained about having, we've never had.
You guys get set. Well, you guys, I'm going to knock on
Still doesn't quite trust him, but he's almost there.
Well, so basically with the yard, that's the biggest thing. And then I sweep the entryways and the...
Now he's going to be building more value, which is great.
Webs.
Okay.
You get mud daubers, and then spider eggs are a problem. So they lay an egg sac around the roof line, and they'll hatch. Those little spiders get under the fascia, and that's why they're in the...
Little tip and trick here, if you can pepper into your value a problem that people can't see but that you know is there, like that's why eggs and spider eggs hatching is like a really good value thing to say if you're selling pest control or whatever the thing you're selling. You can do the same principle. That's a problem that people can't see, but that is like ominously there. If you can pepper those things in, it's a tiny bit of a scare tactic, but people are more likely to buy if there's problems that you are solving that are unseen problems, but they're like looming problems, plus problems that are seen that you can get rid of.
House.
Oh, okay.
So tell your husband that, and then the other big thing is on these brick homes, these holes down here, they're called weep holes. Do you know what those do as far as what the purpose of them? Basically, they let the house breathe, so you don't have...
Educating someone on their house is the best because it just shows that you're an expert, which is, you know, exactly what he's doing. If it were me, I would get into price here, but I've also done this with many customers where I spend a little more time building value.
Issues in the
Oh, that's right, yeah.
but they're also highways for ants and spiders. They get in there, they live in the walls. That's why you have...
My critique with this, though, is if you give too many features and benefits without giving just really broad, sweeping value propositions. So, like, there's a difference between, like, a value presentation and then very specific features and benefits. Cole's more taking the route of doing very specific features and benefits. It kind of just leaves you without ammo in the back half of the sale. I'm curious to see how he solves this, but I like to do very broad, sweeping value propositions that are like, what's the clear, logical reason from a strategy standpoint that you should use us? And then pepper in a few details, but then I'll leave the details, like the very specific features and benefits. I got to make sure that the value prop is compelling, though. Like that presentation needs to be really compelling. And then I'll leave those very detailed features and benefits for the back half of the sale because I know I'm going to have to go deeper into them. And if the person buys and I don't, then I can use them as kind of cool, like solidifying points. But that's my only criticism right now, and as far as the sale goes, is not enough like logical cases from how we treat that's different from a strategy standpoint, broader sweeping value prop statements, and just maybe too many features and benefits right here. Not necessarily talking too much because he's building more rapport and he's really making a logical case, but he may be running out of ammo. I'm not sure. I haven't listened to the back half yet, but we'll see.
So I do like the dust injection into those holes around the foundation.
I'm going to fast forward a bit.
Basically, for a home your size...
Okay, now he's getting into price.
Like 2,000 square feet.
I want to see how he transitions this.
But basically, for a home your size, are you like 2,000 square feet?
2,400.
Again, asking questions. That's great.
Okay, 2,000. We're just 2,000 square feet. That's all.
This is Bjorn. He's my backup dancer, by the way. My bodyguard. So, so for Diane, this is what I did for her. Normally, I'm $289 to start, and then one.
Something I always say when people are shadowing me, I'm like, "Hey, I'm Hayden. This is my bodyguard, Cole. Watch out. He's vicious." Which is funny because Cole's so short. Love you, Cole.
$39 a quarter.
Okay.
Everything I do is warranty from beginning to end, so if you see any bugs or mice, I come back for free. Okay. Which, have you guys been in Texas for a while?
Yes.
So you know that's awesome, actually. When you see the bugs, you come back for free.
Dude, I know Cole doesn't realize he does this. It's amazing. So when someone responds, anytime someone responds in a way that is affirmative, that helps you get closer to closing, like this, he says, that's awesome. So like, you just want to like affirm them in a way, you want to affirm them back in a way that itself will build value. And I'll show you another example of that, what I mean here in a second.
To end, so if you see any bugs or mice, I come back for free. Okay. Which, have you guys been in Texas for a while?
Yes.
So you know that's
perfect.
Awesome, actually. When you see the bugs, you come back for free. You don't have to take care of them. If you have bugs, it's my problem.
This is both of ours first home. I always lived in apartments or stayed with someone in a house. Okay. And then he was in a trailer for years, but yeah.
Oh, cool.
First time either one of us have had a home.
Hey, I think
she's not going to run out.
Yeah, no, she's cool as can be, huh?
She is.
Hanging out. Well, basically, if I could fit you in with Diane, after her, I think I've started 27 people this week. Okay. I would do the first one for $80.
Oh, wow.
I would take $200.
Gosh dang. Oh, wow. Really good. Basically, if I can fit you in, logical reason why you would want to drop the price. You always need a logical reason why to drop the price or to add on value there in order to make it more compelling to buy.
So that would be the full outside. I do the inside.
But I'm still going to do the same service.
Would you guys be willing to try me out?
Again, a bit of a tritonal close here. Another critique that I have is he could go a little harder on this tritonal close and probably get them to buy right away if he did.
I would do the first one for $80.
Oh, wow.
I would take $200 off. So that would be the full outside. I do the inside and the garage for free. Would you guys be willing to try me out?
That's all up to my husband, because I would, but that's up to my husband.
Okay, so now you at least know she's on board. She's getting more honest with him. So the husband objection was a little valid, but that doesn't mean that he needs to just ignore it or just come back when the husband's there. Now he's just got to see will she make a decision without him? If so, great. If not, then you come back, and that's fine. Because in reality, if you want to sell good accounts, have customers that are going to be active for a really long time, and in fact it is important that they have both people on board, you should get both people on board. It'll just help everything about the customer experience. But I always try to check and make sure that the person that I'm talking to won't make the decision first. And you'll usually know that if you can do a couple of these tactics I'll talk about in the back half of the sale. And they still don't buy. Let me see what Cole does here.
You know him better than anybody. What do you think his thoughts would be?
Because he's turned others away. That's a young kid that came here one time and picked up her son. Look, the ants were already there. Yeah, they were already there. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly.
If he were to have objections, do you have any idea what he would object to? Would it be the price or the service itself?
Now, I know why Cole's going straight to this response. It's because she's already said that from the very beginning that he already feels the husband is going to be an impediment. And so he's trying to draw out the objections the husband would give so that she'll feel comfortable to buy. I personally, not even me and my experience and how I 100% am closing this deal every single time. And Cole is going to close this deal as well. But, I still wouldn't do that response. If you're good at doing one-liner responses, this is fine. What objections do your husband think? What do you think your husband would give? I'm going to go for the hypothetical objection, or a hypothetical transition here, which is deflecting the objection. Okay, well, I mean, based on everything I've said, how do you think you'll feel about it? And that's the same thing that I'll say if it's not a husband. So if she says, yeah, just leave me with the card, I'm going to use the same thing. Hey, well, no problem. But based on everything I said, I mean, how do you feel about it? Sounds like you're at least a little interested, right? Based on everything I've said, so that's the transition. Okay, no problem. I want you to make a good decision, but based on everything I've said, I mean, how do you feel about it? Like, are you considering going with me at least? And then that's now, because you use the hypothetical tonality, it really pushes aside that objection, deflects it, and allows you to have the customer answer you honestly. He's in rapport enough with this person because she says, I would do it. And you can take her at face value for that, even though I typically am not going to still, because my path of getting to the close here is going to be quite a bit easier and solidify the sale more. But Cole's so good that he's still going to close the sale no matter what. And it's going to be solidified just as much or just as well, I admit, as I would. I'm just trying to teach the universal way that will help you close people in this situation. No matter what their objection is, 100% of the time you'll be able to close them, unless they don't buy because they're price based and they actually can't afford it. But we don't ever work in places where people can't afford it. I mean, I know what neighborhood he's knocking in. There's super nice houses here. So even though there's first time home buyers, but anyway, I'm going to go really heavy into the back half of the sale on my next video that I do here, and just show you guys how to overcome objections at the back half of the sale and watch what Cole does. And I'm going to do that on my next one. So again, this is another front half of the sale video. Look out for my live. I'll release it on Monday for this back half of the sale. So you guys are going to get this one. I'll probably do it live Monday. So this one, today, Friday, just go out and use this stuff in the front half. If you do the stuff Cole does in the front half of the sale here and all the stuff that I'm teaching, easily you can close, if you're working all day, you can close 5 to 6 deals a day. Easy. Just absolutely easy. But if you then apply the things I'm going to talk about with the back half of the sale, that's where you can get up to 6 to 10 a day, and even more. So, and I really mean that. I've seen it, and I've trained rookies to do it. I've trained people who have no business doing well at selling door-to-door and doing cold calling and selling pest control and slinging deals like crazy. And I've been able to train them to sell very, very well with the same exact things that I'm using here. There are universal principles that apply in any persuasion influence setting. So again, incentive, guys, if you have a live sale that I can react to, I'll send you $50 if you send it to me. I want to react to live sales, and I'll do it in an organic way so you can truly get my thoughts. And, I try to do this in a principle-based way so you can universally apply things across all types of interactions with customers, even all types of sales. And at the same time, always going to give a critique based on, honesty and integrity first and foremost above all else. So $50 for any live sale if you send them to me. Must be video and audio. I don't care what the video is, what it looks like. It's a you recording or someone shadowing you. It doesn't matter. And then attempts at sales, but that you don't get them and you want to know what you could have done to close them, I'll give you $30 for those, and I will react to them. So please send those over. And then like this video, please subscribe. Make sure you send it to people that you're working with, and spread the love. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Freaking make sure you watch Moxie U on this stuff. What I would go watch is Module 7, Moxie University, where I've did so many hours of video going over scripting. Watch that. But then if you haven't yet, start diving into the beliefs, setting a standard of excellence, and then re-scripting, really re-scripting your neural pathways for optimal beliefs to win in sales, and all that stuff on the back part of the modules. So modules 9, 10, and 11, they're next level good. And I see the analytics and not as many people are watching as I would want. We released them a little later. That's fine. But please go watch those. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.